children, welcome to our English class. This is Kusuma, your English teacher. Children, have you ever played with pet animals? We usually like to keep dogs, cats, parrots and even rabbits as our pets. Among all the pets, we say that dog is man's best friend. Have you ever seen a dog helping its master? Here is a story of an old couple and their pet dog from our 7th class English reader Unit 4, The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom. Before moving on to the story, let us have a glimpse of the overview of the lesson. The title of the lesson is The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom. In this chapter, you are going to see before you read, reading text, working with language, speaking and writing, and the poem Chivi. In this session, you are going to see before you read, reading text, and working with text. Let us see the learning objectives of this session. By the end of this session, you will be able to identify the main characters of the story, the old couple, their pet dog, and greedy neighbors. Recognize that the story revolves around the experiences of the old couple and their pet dog. Express the significance of the values like honesty, hard work, loyalty, and kindness. Tell why the greedy couple killed the dog, borrowed the mill and the mortar. Before you read the story, let us know something about this story. This is a story of an old couple and their pet dog. The neighbors are troublesome and the dog dies a sad death. The spirit of the dog gives support and solace in unexpected ways. Now let us move on to the story. While I read the story, you too can read with me. In the good old days of the Daimyos, there lived an old couple whose only pet was a little dog named Miyuko. They loved it as though it were a baby. The kind people fed the pet with tidbits of fish from their own chopsticks and boiled rice. Thus treated, the dumb creature loved its protectors like a being with a soul. The old man went daily with hoe or spade into the fields, working hard from morning until Otento-sama had gone down behind the hills. Every day the dog followed him to work, never once harming the white heron who picked up the worms. The old fellow often turned up a sword on purpose to give food to the birds. Children, here Otento-sama means sun in Japanese. And white heron is the white bird that you see in the picture. Children, now let us see the meanings of few words. Daimyos, wealthy land owners. Tidbits, a small piece of tasty food. Hoe, long-handled gardening tool used for weeding. Sod, surface of the ground with grass growing on it. Turned up, dug up. Now children, let us check what we have learned. What is the name of the pet dog? A. Suko, B. Luko, C. Puko, D. Muko. Yes children, you are right. The answer is D. Muko. Well done children. Why did the old farmer turn up a sword on purpose? A. To find some gold, B. To give food to birds, C. To cultivate the land. Yes children, you are right. The answer is to give food to birds. Now let us continue our story. One day the dog came running to him, kept on whinnying and running to and fro, motioning with his head to some spot behind. The old man followed the dog to a place where the animal began a lively scratching. Thinking it was possibly a buried bone or bit of fish, the old man struck his hoe in the earth when lo, a pile of gold gleamed before him. The old couple bought a piece of land, made a feast for their friends, and gave plentifully to their poor neighbors. The old couple nearly smothered the dog with kindness. Now, in the same village, there lived a wicked old man and his wife. Hearing of their neighbor's good luck, they coaxed the dog into their garden and set before him bits of fish and other dainties, hoping he would find treasure for them. But the dog would neither eat nor move. Now let us see the meanings of few words. Winning, high-pitched cry or sound. Gleamed, shone or glittered. Wicked, cruel. Dainties, tasty food. Now let us check what we have understood. The neighbors of the old couple are hardworking, generous, wicked. Can you guess the answer? Yes, you are right. They are wicked. Well done, children. Now, going for the second question. Did the dog like the wicked couple? A. Yes. B. No. Of course you are right. The answer is no. The dog did not like the wicked couple. The wicked couple dragged the dog out of doors, taking a spade and hoe with them. On reaching a pine tree, the dog began to paw and scratch the ground as if a mighty treasure lay beneath. Then the courteous old couple began to dig, but there was nothing but a dead kitten. Furious at the dog, the old man kicked and beat him to death and flung him into the hole and heaped the earth over his carcass. The owner of the dog heard of the death of his pet and mourned a great while over his pet under the pine tree, calling him many dear names as if he were alive. He put fresh flowers, a cup of water, and a tray of food on the grave and burned several costly incense sticks. That night, the spirit of the dog appeared to him in a dream and said, "Cut down the pine tree over my grave and make a mortar for your rice pastry and a mill for your bean sauce." Courteous, greedy, flung, threw, carcass, dead body. Mortar, bowl used to pound rice. Incense sticks, sticks that burn slowly and emit a strong smell. Now let us check what we have learned. What did the neighbors find when they dug the ground? A. A dead snake. B. Treasure. C. A dead kitten. Yes, you are right. They found a dead kitten. Well done, children. Now let us move on to the second question. What did the spirit of the dog ask the old man to make with the wood of the pine tree? A. To build a house. B. To make a mortar and a mill. Yes, you are right. The answer is to make a mortar and a mill. Very good. Now let us continue our story. The old man chopped down the tree with great labor, made a mortar and a mill. When New Year's time drew near, he wished to make some rice pastry. When the rice was all boiled, the old man started pounding the mass into dough in the mortar. Suddenly, the whole mass turned into a heap of gold coins. When the old woman took the hand mill and began to grind the beans, they turned into gold and dropped like rain. Meanwhile, the envious neighbor peeped in at the window and saw the boiled beans turning into mass of gold. The next day, the stingy and wicked neighbor came and borrowed the mortar and magic mill. They filled one with rice and the other with beans. Then the old man began to pound and the woman began to grind. But at the first blow and turn, the pastry and sauce turned into a foul mass of worms. Still more angry with this, they chopped the mill into pieces to use as firewood. Now let us learn the meanings of few words. Chopped, cut into pieces. Pounding, crushing. Dough, a thick mixture of flour and liquid. Firewood, wood used for fuel. Now let us check what we have understood. When New Year's time drew near, what did the old man wish to make? A. Cakes. B. Rice pastry. C. Cookies. Yes, children, you are right. It is the rice pastry. Well done, children. Now, let us move on to the second question. Who borrowed the mortar and the mill from the old man? A. Wicked neighbors. B. Daimyos. C. Friends. Yes, children, you are right. The wicked neighbors borrowed the mortar and the mill from the old man. Good, children, very good. Children, now let us see few more questions regarding this session. Hope you all understood the story. Let us check it. See the first question. What do you mean by Otento-sama? A. Moon. B. Sun. C. Earth. D. Stars. Yes, children, you are right. The answer is B. Sun. Well done, children. Now, let us move on to the second question. The old farmer and his wife loved the dog. A. Because it helped them. B. As if it were their own baby. C. As they were kind to all living beings. Yes, you are right. The old farmer and his wife loved the dog as if it were their own baby. Well done, children. Let us move on to the third question. What did the old man find in the ground? A. A pile of bones. B. A pile of gold. C. A pile of dried leaves. Yes, you are right. The old man found a pile of gold in the ground. Well done. Now let us go to the fourth question. When the old couple became rich, they gave the dog better food. B. Invited the greedy neighbors to a feast. C. Lived comfortably and were generous towards their poor neighbors. Yes, children, you are right. When the old couple became rich, they lived comfortably and were generous towards their poor neighbors. Well done, children. Shall we go to the fifth question? Whom did the neighbors kill and bury? A. The farmer. B. The dog. C. Farmer's wife. Yes, children, you are right. The neighbors killed and buried the dog. Well said. Now, let us go to the next question. When the old couple started pounding and grinding, the whole mass turned into A. Gold. B. Silver. C. Stones. Yes, children, you are absolutely right. The answer is gold. Very good. Now, shall we go to the next question? The greedy couple borrowed the mill and the mortar to make A. A rice pastry and bean sauce. B. Magic ash to win rewards. C. A pile of gold. Well said. They borrowed the mill and the mortar to make a pile of gold. Well said, children. Now, let us go on to the next question. The old farmer is a kind person. What evidence of his kindness do you find in the first two paragraphs? Here is the answer. They fed the pet with tidbits of fish from their own chopsticks. The old man often turned up a sod on purpose to give food to the birds. We can find these two sentences in the first two paragraphs of the story. Well said. Now let us move on to the ninth question. What did the dog do to lead the farmer to the hidden gold? The dog kept on whinnying and running to and fro, motioning with his head to some spot behind. Well said. This is the last question. How did the spirit of the dog help the farmer first? The spirit of the dog turned the rice pastry and bean sauce into gold and thus helped the farmer. Well said, children. Hope you all understood the story. Now, let us summarize the story. An old couple lived with their pet dog. They loved the dog very much. Once, the dog found a treasure for the old man. Seeing this, his neighbors coaxed the dog to show them treasure. Instead, the dog showed them a dead kitten. Furious of this act, the neighbors killed the dog and buried it under a pine tree. The old man mourned a lot over the death of the dog. The spirit of the dog helped the old man to become rich. Children, this is not the end of the story. We shall continue the story in the next session. Until then, bye. Take care.